Coming up on today's episode of DLLS Mavs, what's the identity of the Mavericks this upcoming season? And we hand out some season award predictions for your Mavericks. All that and more on today's episode of DLLS Mavs. Here we go. Hey, what's up, DLLS Mavs Nation? It's your man, Kevin Gray, alongside Mavericks insider Tim Cato, Mavericks analyst Bobby Carella. We are DLLS Mavs, your favorite guys covering your favorite team every single day. You can find me on X at Kevin Gray Sports, at Tim_Cato, at Bobby Carella. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to DLLS Sports here on YouTube. If you're in the chat, make sure you like the video here for DLLS Mavs. So much to get to on today's episode, including Mavericks season prediction for their awards this year. Also, the identity of the Mavericks. What is it and how will it affect them this upcoming year? And we get into Bobby's favorite Dallas Maverick, Omax Prosper, is going to preview his season a little bit later on today. Bobby's been waiting for this show, particularly for the Omax Prosper preview. We'll do that a little bit later on in our show. But gentlemen, how are we doing on this terrific Tuesday, Tim Cato? See what I did there?
Not quite.
Terrific Tuesday, Tim Cato.
Oh, the little alliteration.
Yeah, try to do a little whatever.
I'm doing well.
Alliteration for those.
I'm doing terrific.
Good.
Yeah,
it's good to see you. How you doing, Bobby?
I'm doing well. I can't think of another word that starts with T that's like synonymous with good. So I'm trying.
You're trying.
Yeah.
You're trying on this terrific Tuesday.
I'm trying my best. I'm trying my best.
Are you having a torrid Tuesday?
Ooh, torrid.
No.
Are you having a Are you not having a traumatic Tuesday?
I am going to have some tacos for lunch, probably. It's like a really good chance I'm going to have some tacos for lunch. Really good chance.
We are waiting on that Chipotle, sponsorship to come through because you are a connoisseur of Chipotle pretty much like every day. At this point.
Pretty much what I can say right now is that I prefer like fast, casual Tex-Mex inspired food from a place that I'm not going to name.
Oh, that you're not going to name?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I don't do free advertising.
There's a lot of secrets on this show.
Okay, all right.
I thought that the whole point of us coming on here every day was to be honest
and authentic.
Yeah, and to let people into our lives.
Yeah, and I'm all about the Benjamins authentically.
That's honest. All about the Benjamins. That's your new nickname. All about the Benjamins, Bobby. Yep, we just coined that right here.
Nickname. It's a really long nickname.
It'll work.
I'll take it.
We'll find a way to make it work. Let us know in the chat what you believe the Mavericks identity will be this upcoming year, and we'll do some Mavericks season award predictions. Who we think will be the MVP, most improved, defensive player of the year, sixth man of the year for your Dallas Mavericks. We'll get into that a little bit later on, but let's jump into our first topic of the day, gentlemen. What do we believe the Mavericks identity will be this upcoming year? We're not playing football on this show. We're not toting that thing on this show.
Don't worry about it.
Sorry, what was the question?
Yep, here we go. See, this is why we have to call it out, Tim.
I have ADHD, ADD, ADD, HDD. I got them all.
All of them today, huh?
Yeah.
What's the Mavericks identity you feel like going to be this upcoming year?
Hopefully they're a team that's going to take the regular season very seriously. Hopefully they're a team that understands that in order to achieve their goal, you don't want to be fifth place again. You don't want to be even fourth place. Ideally, you want to be first or second place in the conference standings, and that requires taking every game seriously. That requires beating the teams you should, which is what they did last year. It requires beating some teams that maybe you shouldn't, which they didn't do until March. The season starts in October, and if you can believe that, it goes all the way through April. But we've seen over the last 3 years,
that's a long time.
They were able to turn it on in February and March twice. 1 year they didn't, and it went really, really sideways, really, really fast. So I think ultimately, and we got into this last week talking about the 06 and 07 Mavs, how they failed in the finals, came out on a mission, and then failed again. But I liked the first part of what the 07 Mavs did, which is, hey, we think we can win the championship. So let's go prove to everybody for 82 games that we can make our jobs in April easier. They just didn't. They didn't quite get the payoff at the end.
What do you think the identity of the Mavericks will be this season, Tim Cato?
So many 3-pointers.
All the threes, raining all the threes.
Just every shot's a 3.
Even from Derek Lively, everyone's just going to take threes this year.
They're going to go an entire game taking only 3s.
That would be a hell of a bit.
They're not going to do that, but they are going to shoot so many 3s. I mean, I'm just going to stand by my prior prediction for this team.
Mm-hmm.
I think that if they indeed set the record for the most 3s in NBA history, that's an identity right there.
Okay, so a team that just bombs away from the three-point line. From Frank last year, identity was defense after the half season, but I think their identity is going to be elite offense this year, to your point about what they will do from the three-point line. I think for me, I think it's all going to start on the defensive end once again, because one of the things that we've been talking about on this show, the addition of Klay Thompson, but the subtraction of Derrick Jones Jr., right? What kind of exchange is that going to be? We know what we feel like it's going to be on the offensive end, but will the defense be the same based off of what we believe their capabilities are on that end of the floor? And with Klay Thompson now being inserted into the starting lineup, how much more does he have left on that end defensively to be able to help some of that identity remain for Dallas as far as being a really good defensive team like they were, especially in the second half of last year?
It's a good point. They don't have the personnel. They are not starting on the front foot, on the defensive front foot in the same way that they did last season.
Mm-hmm.
That makes it important that your identity is defense.
Yeah.
Your defense, maybe it's not as good, but if that is identity-wise, if that is what the coaches are emphasizing, the offense is going to make sense of itself. The offense will hum along because it's Luka's offense, because it's Kyrie, because these guys know what to do. But if the coaching staff, the players, the locker room, all of these people come together and say, hey, defense is what matters for us. Defense is the identity that we have to have. That's a chance for Dallas to be more than the sum of its parts. And more than the sum of its parts, I think, is a top 10 defense. And that's what you're looking for. I think that's pretty important for Dallas. We'll see how much they're able to actually implement that. But having that as that identity just does a lot for you. Has a lot of trickle down, effects that are really good for what Dallas is trying to do this season.
The big breakthrough they made last season was, okay, so first off, let's talk about what an identity is. An identity is what you do, what makes you, what sets you apart. And the big breakthrough they had after the trade deadline last year was they figured we can kind of do a little bit of everything. We can be the best defense. We can be the best team around the rim. We can shoot a ton of threes. We can be really versatile. We have a really talented backcourt that can dazzle you in isolation, but then also we have all these freak athletes that can score on the open floor. So, like, the Mavs had 5 or 6 different ways they could win. This team, I agree, much more offensive heavy than defensively sound, at least on paper, by the looks of it. I don't want to have to win every game 125 to 120, and I don't want them to have to make 15 or 18 threes to have a chance on any given night. So, that's why the regular season over the first couple months is going to be so important for them trying to figure out, okay, what can we do on defense? Is this lineup viable? Do we have to tinker with rotations or whatever? Because if they can be a really good defense and a really good offense, then you can have an off shooting night and still win. Or then you can get in a track meet game and still win. You can get in what Rick Carlisle would call a pillow fight and still have a chance to win 135 to 132. You want to be able to win all the ways. That was their identity last year, and hopefully this team can, rediscover that or, maintain that.
Yeah, versatility is important because you mentioned winning in a variety of ways. They're going to be seeing a lot of different caliber of opponents night in and night out, and having the ability to be versatile and win in different ways is going to be important for them. It's interesting because we're less than a week now away from media day for the Dallas Mavericks. Training camp for the Boston Celtics beginning this week. They're already having their media days beginning this week as they get ready to defend their NBA championship. But last year, we were talking about the tempo of this team. They wanted to play faster. They wanted to get up and down the floor a lot more, and they were able to do so most of the year being a top 10 pace team. What do you anticipate hearing from Jason Kidd and some of these players about what they believe they want to forge as their own identity? We have given what we feel like their identity is going to be. What do you feel like them as a team are going to be thinking about as they approach this year with the additions that they've made and the subtractions of guys like Derrick Jones Jr.?
Can I be cynically positive or positively cynical?
Yes.
Can I do that?
I feel like those are different things.
I'll be positively cynical. All right.
Okay.
That's
So
what I'm
you're
gonna be.
definitely being cynical.
I'm being cynical, but in a positive way. All right, in a way that we can feel good about.
Okay, we'll see how this goes. All right.
So I just got done, waxing poetic about how great last year's team was, right? They weren't really that good until their back was firmly against the wall. In 21-22, the Mavs didn't go off on this. They won 17 out of 22, I think, to end the season until their back was firmly against the wall. I think that this team's actual identity, not what we want it to be, but what it actually is we're going to turn it on when we have to. And that bears out in Kyrie turning it on the second half whenever he has to, or in the fourth quarter. Luka digging in on defense when he has to. The Mavs making trades at the deadline when they have to. I think that's a good thing to be able to do. To have the switch that you can just turn on whenever you need to. It's a cool trick to have.
I don't think they can afford to do that this year, though.
And that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm hoping that they're we need to do this from October 20, whatever day the season starts. Maybe I need to lock in.
Yeah.
Because I don't remember what day the season opener is, but they can't wait. You don't have the luxury. Time waits for nobody. Okay. You got to go out there and you got to do it from opening night.
Yeah. Because this year, the target is firmly on this team's back night in and night out. I mean, you're opening up the season against Victor Wembanyama and the San Antonio Spurs. Tim has detailed, those first 7-8 games of the season and how difficult those games are going to be. Every team is gunning for the Mavericks this year, and they can't be a team that turns that on and off switch on and off when they want to. They have to lock in from the very beginning of the season. Otherwise, they're going to find themselves in a hole and trying to climb out of it and dig out of it all season long and expending that much more energy trying to get themselves where they need to go this upcoming year.
Sounds about right to me. Yeah. I don't have anything to add on. I think that you guys summed it up well.
Are you cynically positive or are you positively cynical?
What do you think we're going to hear from Jason Kidd and this team when we get to media day next week about this very question?
I don't know if it matters, to be honest, because everything's going to change in February.
Yeah. That's just kind of where I fall on all this stuff. Yes, mental and identity and all this stuff matters. But the reason Dallas was bad to start last season is they had a bad roster. And then they got a better roster, and then they're better. And absolutely, there is it's not as simple as that, though. I mean, Luke and Kyrie they tried harder. Yeah. And not in they're lazy. They literally just played harder. That's what I was going to say, is that a lot of this comes from Luka. Yeah. It starts at the very top. And doesn't the team adopt the identity of your superstar? 100%. And that is something that I think about a lot in the way that Luka starts the year versus when he decides sometimes halfway through the season to really lock in and get engaged. I think that does affect everybody around him. I mean, it's been 3 years in a row of in December, he's all right, I have 11 techs already. No more techs. Yeah. Don't do that. That's 11 points that you're just giving away. Don't do that. Just not get any techs at all. And, that's not reasonable, tech is usually, for him, it's usually a result of 20 game minutes of frustration. Yes. Where you're seeing a lot of mistakes and seeing some stuff that you wish you could take back. He's probably given up 3 fast break layups for every tech he gets. Yeah. And we can't, those layups precede a tech. Yeah. No more. No more. It is the West is too good. Expectations are too high. Your aspirations are rightfully too high. No more. I just think the team's going to be. Stop it. I just think the team's going to start better. I think they have a better roster, and I think that it will show. And I think Luka will show it too. And I think the fact that the roster is better and that Luka believes in it, which I believe he will, means that he'll be more locked in from an early point. So I think a lot of these things kind of solve themselves, and that's what I expect to see. Folks in the chat also saying that the best defense is going to be a good offense for this team this upcoming year, given what we think their offensive firepower is going to be. Make sure you continue to throw those in the chat as far as what you think the identity of this Mavericks team is going to be this year as we get ready for their media day less than a week away, as we'll be hearing from your favorite Mavericks and, of course, Jason Kidd and the front office as well. Coming up here in just a moment, we'll get into our Mavs season award predictions, who we think will be the defensive player of the year, the most improved player, sixth man of the year. We'll do that for the Mavericks coming up here in just a moment. But before we get there, Bobby, talk to me about Empire Today. Empire Today. One of the first things that I notice every time I walk into the office is the work of our friends at Empire Today, where they will provide you with shop-at-home convenience, the right product for your needs, a quick and professional installation, and a low-price guarantee. And we're talking about floors, folks. We're not talking about plumbing. We're not talking about
roofing. We're not talking about electric stuff or anything else that these grifters out there in the street are going to tell you that they can do in your home in addition to the floor. No, at Empire Today,
You know why they're out on the street? Because they don't have floors.
that
at
is
home.
true. And I don't mean, I just mean like walking down the street, people are going to come accost you and say, hey, let me put floor in your kitchen. Say no. Go to Empire Today. And you don't even need to physically go there. That's the thing about Empire Today. You can shop for floors where you use your floors. They have a virtual floor designer. You just point your phone at the floor and you can see what your new kitchen would look like. You can see, what your new studio floor will look like while you're at home. You don't got to go to a box store. You don't got to worry about sales commission, people breathing down your neck and trying to upsell you and everything. No, Empire Today has reasonable prices on reasonable flooring that they would use. They're not going to sell you some stuff that they wouldn't use themselves, right? So you can schedule a free in-home estimate today. All listeners can receive a $350 off discount when they use the promo code DLLS. Restrictions apply. Again, promo code DLLS at empiretoday.com/DLLS and save yourself some money. And wait a minute. What do I hear? Do y'all hear that?
What? Is it money being saved?
800-588-2300.
This is scaring me.
Empire Today.
You hear it too.
Today.
Oh,
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know if they'll be able to hear that on the podcast, but we'll find that out.
Oh,
Is that the end of your ad read?
800-588-2300 Empire Today.
Was that the end? Are we done now?
Tim's like, please let me do my read, damn it. Let me do my read.
We're driven by the search for better, but when it comes to hiring, the best way to search for a candidate isn't to search at all. Don't search, match with Indeed.
Indeed.
If you need to hire, you need Indeed. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform with over 350 million global monthly visitors, according to Indeed data, and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. Ditch the busy work. Use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging so you can connect with candidates faster. And Indeed doesn't help you hire faster. 93% of employers agree Indeed delivers the highest quality matches compared to any other job sites, according to a recent Indeed survey. Leveraging over 140 million qualifications and preferences every day, Indeed's matching engine is constantly learning from your preferences. So the more you use Indeed, the better it gets. Join more than 3.5 million businesses worldwide that use Indeed to hire great talent fast. Listeners of the show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/AllCity. Just go to Indeed.com/AllCity right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/AllCity. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed.
Indeed, you do. Thank you so much, Tim, for that fabulous read today in our Empire Today singing jingle from Bobby Carella. We'll clip that later. You're welcome, Tanner. Coming up right now, though, your Mavericks season predictions for their awards that they will win this year. We're going to do that for the Mavericks. And we hear, of course, that players can win, of course, the NBA's Sixth Man of the Year award, Defensive Player of the Year, MVP, Most Improved Player. We're going to do that for your Dallas Mavericks. So in the chat, I want you to let us know who you think the Mavericks MVP will be, Most Improved Player, Defensive Player of the Year, Sixth Man of the Year, and we'll discuss that right here on DLLS Mavs. And also, we're going to do Clutch Player of the Year. So that's Tim's favorite award, Clutch Player of the Year. So we're going to discuss that as well. So let's just—
I'm going to award it to myself.
For being— you don't play for the Mavs. You write and talk about them, but you have to actually play for them to be qualified for these awards.
Can you vote for
Disagree.
DeMar DeRozan if he's not currently on the team?
Does he play for
Is
the
it like
Mavericks?
a prediction that they'll trade for DeMar DeRozan?
What are you doing right now?
I'm just—
You're trading for
I'm
DeMar
muckraking.
DeRozan?
Well, I know that's Tim's favorite clutch player.
That is, he was just the most clutch. It's not my favorite. He was the most clutch.
Tim said, "Don't
player
speak
in the
for me,
league last
Bobby.
year."
Don't you speak for me, okay?"
Yeah. We can make predictions with this.
We can.
For example, I could say that Klay is going to be the Mavs Sixth Man of the Year.
Whoa! All right,
Wait,
don't hot take! Whoa! What is going on?
I didn't say I
here?
was going to say that, but I could.
Oh, one could. Yes,
One
you're
could
right.
say
Yeah,
that, but
yeah.
seeing as he's in the starting line, we would hope he's not the Sixth Man of
If
the
it
year.
is to be said.
Okay, let's get the most unanimous vote out of the way for Mavericks MVP. Luka Doncic.
Yes.
Tanner is good. Okay,
Here,
Tanner.
so can I just provide just minor contrarian energy here for the sake of sports debate?
Okay.
So it's really—
no, Tanner, do not.
It's
no.
really, really important to to remember that, like, without Luka, none of this stuff matters. But assuming that Luka is doing the Luka thing, then Kyrie is so valuable to this team as that supporting superstar. We kind of talked about. He's like the best number 2 in the NBA. He's like a complimentary superstar. He's like a role player that gives you 25 points and leadership and assists and rebounds and steals and everything.
Go
like
50, 40, 90 on you.
Yeah, and like he doesn't need the ball and does all that stuff. And so like as if we accept that Luka is going to do the thing that Luka does, then Kyrie is like he's just
okay,
so
Kyrie.
good. You know
Kyrie,
what I mean?
hey, we've got the more valuable player award for you.
Well, like, but that's
yeah.
But what I mean,
We've got
Kyrie's
you,
more
your
valuable.
MVP.
Luka's most, but Kyrie's more.
but like now that we've had a year and plus a playoff run and all that stuff, to see like whenever it was Luka and Brunson, like you didn't feel as comfortable about Jalen until like probably like the second round against the Suns as you do with Kyrie anytime he has the ball. Never felt that comfortable about Porzingis. You know, like the Mavs have tried to have the duo guy with Luka the whole time he's been here, and they finally found it. It's like, yeah, this is incredible. This is what we wanted the whole time.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, Luka obviously is the MVP.
Most improved player. Let us know in the chat who you feel like will be the Mavericks' most improved player this upcoming year. Tim Cato.
I mean, it's hard not to go with Lively again. I mean, are we saying? I think the totality of last season versus the totality of this season, it'll be Lively. Now, if you're saying who's going to improve most from the last time we saw them play basketball to what they look like this season, maybe it's someone like Quentin Grimes.
Okay.
Just because Lively hit such a high level. But in terms of, look at Lively's counting stats last season. Look at, what he actually did for the entirety of the regular season. We've already seen him make the leap. But in terms of this award, it's awarding a better regular season than the regular season you had before. It's going to be Lively.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Lively too. I don't even know if Grimes would be eligible just because like he was good for 2 years and then he dropped off a little bit, so like, I guess a return to form. I don't know if that would
comeback player of the year.
Yeah.
It's also an award.
Yeah, I think Lively is really like the only eligible guy for that award, right? I mean, I guess PJ could improve in ways that might not be like quantifiable. You might be able to look at him and say, yeah, that's a better player.
Olivia Maxon's Prosper.
I'm surprised he didn't say Max, honestly, in terms of most
I just don't know if
improved.
those guys are going to play.
Have
Max
opportunities
isn't
to
gonna
do
play,
that.
Yeah. I don't know if either of them are going to play. I mean, unless they pop super hard or there's like catastrophic levels of injuries.
They probably combine for 40 games or less.
I mean, there's probably going to be
blowouts more than that. Hardy played a lot of games.
I mean, Omax really only played, I think, rotation minutes in that period of time, like when Maxey was out and Lively was out around Thanksgiving, early December, something like that.
Yeah,
he barely played at all, and
he had like 3 games.
It's gonna be hard for Hardy to crack the rotation.
We got some votes for PJ Washington as most improved player this upcoming year. We've detailed how much of his game he's working on this year. For the sake of being a contrarian on this particular award, I'm gonna go with Najee Marshall on this particular award for most improved player, because I think he'll have a chance to be able to have more opportunities. We know what kind of defense he's going to bring, but also hopefully as a more of a volume 3-point shooter this year with the opportunities he's going to get with that second unit. I think Najee Marshall has a chance to be the most improved player because of the opportunities that he's going to get for this team this year, that you could see a leap in his game. But Derek Lively is a tremendous candidate for this, for a second-year league. We've talked about the second-year sensation that we believe he's going to be for the Mavericks, which gets us.
Well, can I give you a little +1 on that?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So I think we all feel pretty good about the Klay Thompson experience. Like, I think it's going to be pretty good. If there's any sort of injuries or if it goes sideways, there's a chance that Najee does end up becoming a starter or like a heavy minutes guy. Even if everything goes well, Najee might end up being a super heavy minutes guy because there's really no one else off the bench that can do what he does.
Yeah.
So there's a real possibility that he could see big statistical leaps.
Yeah, we'll have his season preview a little bit later on this week, but I'm excited about Najee Marshall's season and what he could do for the Mavericks this year, which gets us to our last one before we'll continue our awards in the next segment. The Mavericks 6th Man of the Year. Who will win Mavericks 6th Man of the Year? We've seen some votes already for Spencer Dinwiddie as a potential 6th Man of the Year award winner for the Mavericks. Who you guys believe will win that for Dallas?
Okay, fine. I won't actually say Klay Thompson.
Okay,
it would
good.
be edgy. It would be so good, though.
Yeah, it'd be funny.
Are you willing to do it I'll do it for content. It'll be Klay. I'm just kidding. I don't believe that.
I don't truly believe it. It's probably going to be Najee Marshall.
Okay.
That's pretty obvious. I think it's him or Quentin Grimes.
Daniel Gafford doesn't get maybe a vote for Sixth Man of the Year for the Mavericks?
How are we judging the sixth man? Is it like night to night? Because I think
historically it's whoever scores the most.
Okay, so like because here's the caveat or whatever is that night to night
the person who leads a team off the bench, like
it's a dumb award.
Yeah. Like night to night, I'm not sure how many Spencer Dinwiddie minutes we're gonna get, but Luka and Kyrie are gonna combine and miss with 25 games, 30 games, hopefully not too much more than that. Dinwiddie's probably gonna start all of those games if he's healthy. So then you're not really a sixth man. You're more like the spot starter of the year. But like if he's good at that, that's extremely valuable. But otherwise, I'd say I think it'll be Gafford.
Okay.
Interesting.
We have some votes for Daniel Gafford. Also, as I mentioned,
maybe it is Gafford.
Spencer Dinwiddie.
Maybe you're right. I might be wrong here.
For Sixth Man of the Year?
Yeah.
I am interested to see how he comes back because we projected Derek
Lively. It's a regular season award, too.
Yeah. He's going to be the starter for this team. How Gafford responds to being a guy that's going to be coming off the bench this time around and the impact that he could have with that second unit, because we know how good they were as a tandem last year. I'm interested to see Gafford's mindset and approach this upcoming year, knowing what they're going to be asking him to do coming off the bench. So I think Daniel Gafford is a real good candidate for this award. So, by the way, Ben says that he's going ahead of us. The most clutch player he believes will be Klay Thompson this upcoming year. So we'll dive.
Spoilers. Calm down, Ben. We're not there yet.
Oh, wow.
I'm just saying, like,
you set the tone.
You
Tim.
did with the hot take that he's going to be the sixth man of the year. By the way, shout out to Frank. He says the MVP is going to be Dwight Powell. Probably the MVP for getting hit in the face all year long.
Yeah. No, he's right, though.
That he's going to be the MVP?
Yeah.
Dwight Powell?
Yeah.
With his fresh new haircut and everything?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
We don't know if he's going to keep it.
Sixth man of the year, potentially incoming.
It's possible to say.
For Dwight Powell?
Maybe.
Okay. Most unlikeliest person to win sixth man of the year. Now that you've thrown Dwight Powell.
Luka.
Wait, what?
I'm losing track of this.
Huh?
I'm losing track of what's happening here.
Well, he said Dwight Powell, could win sixth man of the year. So I'm like, well, who's the unlikeliest one to be the sixth man of the year?
Luka.
That's not an answer.
No,
that's my answer.
No, that is who's unlikeliest, most unlikely to do it. Yeah.
In the literalist sense of the question.
Why don't we give out an eighth man of the year?
An eighth man of the year?
Yeah.
I'll go with Dante Exum.
Ooh, I like that one.
I like that a lot.
He's a good eighth man.
Yeah. He's a very good eighth man.
Yeah. It's a good, solid eighth man.
Yeah.
Anybody else qualify for that?
Maxi Kleba.
Nah.
Maxi could be a sneaky candidate for sixth man of the year, maybe.
No, Maxi is a front runner for the ninth man of the year.
Oh, wow. Ninth man of the year.
Don't be so dumb.
Relax, Kat. It's okay. It's okay,
It's a good thing I'm not voting on anything.
Oh, my God.
Except for in the election.
Get them straight.
Why didn't you say Omax for most improved player? I'm surprised you didn't just
I just
lay
don't
that
think he's
out
going to
there.
get minutes.
Okay.
I mean, I know that like the bit is like I'm the Omax guy, but I just
Ben was waiting for it.
I just don't think he's going to play enough.
So you're not the Omax guy, because a true Omax believer would expect him.
Well,
to...
I'm not a zealot.
Not as a zealot.
I'm just a guy.
Yeah.
Just a guy about.
Okay, but embrace populism.
All right.
Politics.
Yeah. That wasn't politics. That was a political theory that applied to his Omax fandom.
No, it doesn't.
Kind of.
Coming up here in just a moment, we will continue our Mavericks season award predictions, maybe, depending on what happens over the next couple of minutes. And a little bit later on in the show, what's your number one NBA storyline outside of the Dallas Mavericks, as we are less than a week away from all teams opening up training camp and, of course, for Media Day next week. But before we get there, let me talk to you a little bit about Rugged Road. I need you to head to ruggedroadoutdoors.com and use code DLLS for 10% off. Rugged Road, who is dedicated to creating innovative and durable outdoor gear for adventurers who demand the best. Our products are designed with the highest quality materials and craftsmanship, ensuring they perform in the toughest conditions. Whether you're on land or water, Rugged Road gear is built to accompany you on every adventure. Lightweight design, great floatability, durability, and dependable as well. Crafted to handle the toughest environments, their coolers are built to last, ensuring they keep up with any adventure. The coolers are guaranteed to hold their contents up to 7 days, but oftentimes much longer for that. Perfect for a variety of outdoor activities, from fishing, tubing, to camping, and also tailgating, especially if you're going to be going to Cowboys games this year. These coolers are designed to meet the needs of every outdoor or sports enthusiast. So gear up for your next adventure with Rugged Road outdoor coolers. Reliable, durable, and built to be used, Rugged Road is your ultimate outdoor companion. Head to ruggedroadoutdoors.com and use code DLLS for 10% off today.
AllDLLS.com/diehard.
That's
Kevin,
right.
And Tim and Tanner and everybody here in the chat with us. That's where you need to go to become a diehard today. And I just want to shout out some of our newest diehards. The newest is Alexander. Shout out to you. Shout out Yirka. Shout out Vincent. Shout out to Lee, Tyler. Shout out to Tabor. Shout out to Aaliyah and Brett. They've all signed up to become a diehard over the last day or so. Whenever you become a diehard, you get a free T-shirt, and you will be getting those soon.
I love mine because I'm preferred. They like me more.
Wow.
There's no way you got one.
I have like 50.
Oh my god!
Yeah. All right.
What's your address, Tim?
Don't say that out loud.
15
Okay.
0.
Anyway, so you become a diehard. You get
9.
you will eventually get a T-shirt. You'll eventually get some other cool stuff. You can read the website, alldls.com. All the stuff that's behind the paywall for diehards only. One of the most recent things up there, Clarence Hill, one of our Cowboys writers, shared some text messages that Dak Prescott sent him after the most recent Cowboys loss. So there's all sorts of stuff going on that fantastic website. So become a diehard today, alldlls.com/diehard. It's less than $7 a month, and it'll change your life.
I'm really
For the
excited
better.
for the season to start because we're gonna write some fun stuff this year.
Are we?
The content is about to be fire
am.
this year.
Okay.
I absolutely am. Man, there's nothing to write about. 1 week away. 1 week away.
So close.
It's almost that time.
All the
so
content.
close and yet so
We're
far.
gonna be plugging a lot more stuff as the show goes on.
No, in all seriousness, Tim Cato stuff is going to be fire this year covering the Dallas Mavericks. I'm excited to read his stuff this upcoming year. Bobby's going to be dropping in stuff. He's got Pokemon Maverick comparisons that you should go check out on
And that one's for free, baby.
And that one's for free. So definitely check out all the amazing content from Mavericks, Stars, Cowboys, and Rangers as well. We continue our Mavericks season award predictions. We've already gone through the Mavericks MVP. We've gone through Most Improved Player and Sixth Man of the Year. We want you to also chime in on who you will believe will be the Clutch Player of the Year, the Mavericks Defensive Player of the Year, Comeback Player of the Year, as well as we continue our season award predictions for your Dallas Mavericks. Just a week away, less than a week away from Media Days. We will be covering all of that for you here at DLLS Mavs. So make sure that you're following all of us for all of your Mavericks coverage. So let's continue, gentlemen, with our season award predictions for the Dallas Mavericks. Mavericks Clutch Player of the Year.
DeMar DeRozan.
Who doesn't play for the Mavericks, but
what if I'm predicting a trade?
that's another
that's very
segment
valid
for another day.
I think that's valid, personally.
I
that
think
DeMar
that's valid
DeRozan
too.
becomes a Dallas Maverick.
Predicting a trade.
Predicting a trade.
I don't think that is
What are you
valid.
doing?
I don't think there's any universe where they would ever do that.
I agree with Bobby.
Who you trading for DeMar DeRozan? Let's just walk down this road real quick.
Luka Doncic.
Relax, Bob.
We're okay. They're not doing that. It's probably gonna be Kyrie, who was to me, he was the second most clutch player. When I kind of looked at the stats and had to vote for this award last season,
Mm-hmm.
I think it'll be Kyrie Irving again. Also, it's a regular season award, which in Kyrie's case is kind of important.
Yeah, he was
Just
definitely-
because the Boston series went poorly. That's all I'm saying.
he
I
hit
should clarify that.
one of the most clutch shots last year. Of course, his buzzer beater over Nikola Jokic in that game against the Denver Nuggets. One of the lasting images.
He was
of last
insane
year's
in the
season.
fourth quarter. He was so good the entire every single fourth quarter, every
Yes.
single close game. He was so good. I've got Kyrie again.
So the Mavs last year only played 32 clutch games, which for them is pretty low. It was a lot higher earlier in their era. But hey, good defense means you usually win games a little more comfortably. But they had the second best clutch win percentage in the NBA last year, 71.9%. Only the Lakers won a higher percentage, and the Lakers have 3 extra teammates in the final 5 minutes of games. But in the 20 clutch games that Kyrie played, the Mavs won 80% of their clutch games,
Wow.
16-4 in clutch moments, which is the final 5 minutes of the fourth quarter with the score within 5 points. Kyrie shot 60% from the floor, 42.1% from 3, and 95.5% from the free throw line.
Yeah, a classic 60-40-95 line.
Yeah,
Mhm.
just
Yeah,
classic,
yeah, yeah.
effortless 60-40. I
I
mean,
talk about that all the time.
yeah, like it is make believe numbers. So I think it's got to be Kyrie. I guess the one potential contender for that, I guess non-Luka division, the one potential potential contender for that would be some sort of defensive stopper that can, like, I don't know if they close games with Najee and PJ in there, like PJ at the 5 and they get Najee out there, like, hey, Najee, just go be a maniac and guard whatever. Name your player. Devin Booker down the stretch here and just, like, make his life hell. And if that's the case, if they can win games with defense, then maybe that would help.
Shout out to Ardell with the super chat, the $2.77 super chat. Shout out to Ardell.
Great idea. Love
That's
it.
right. He's following the bit that Tim put out there in terms
Defending his title.
That's right. The Mavs second unit will impact the win column.
Ardell, is this a question?
That's right. Is this a question or are you making a statement?
It will.
It will, yes.
Their bench is good. And I just genuinely believe that Klay Thompson is not going to close every game. He is not. When clutch situations pop up, when Dallas needs to go finish off a game, it's going to be Klay a lot of the times. It's not going to be Klay all of the times. Like, this is not a sourced opinion yet. I will certainly, as training camp goes along, once media day gets here, this will be a top pick. But deep down, if you ask me to look at this team, to look at these players, I just don't believe that it's going to be Klay Thompson every time. And a big reason for that is that this second unit, these second units have so much depth. There's a lot of people to plug and play.
Yeah.
There are options that are going to make sense for specific matchups. There are scenarios where Klay Thompson just is cold. He's going to have some games like that. That's okay. That's the type of player he is. And Dallas has the depth to make up for it. I've also said earlier on one of the shows we've done that, one good thing I think Dallas would really help Dallas is having a bench unit that just, rolls over everybody.
Yeah.
Like, whenever you've got Luka and 4 bench guys or Kyrie and 4 bench guys, if you could just, just pound the glass and, just like rack up dunks and layups and points. These are things that get you closer to where this team believes it should be, is all of that stuff.
No, that's a terrific point, because one of the things that we've lamented about this team in the years past is that at times them losing the non-Luka minutes. And with a team that is as deep and as strong as they are projected to go into this upcoming year, you should be pretty much even, you feel like, in those non-Luka minutes, as you mentioned, with Kyrie and the depth that they have on this team. You should feel much better with that team as well going onto the floor. Ardell is just putting it in work today. His second super chat, this time for $2.41. Again, continuing with the bit. Team depth enough to carry them through absences, he asked.
That's the goal. I mean, it's going to be really, really tough to survive any sort of extended absence from Luka and Kyrie. It's just, we just have to accept that. But I think the goal with bringing in Dinwiddie, the goal with having as many guards as they do, is, hey, on the second night of a back-to-back when Kyrie can't go, or, hey, Luka turned his ankle, he's going to miss the next 2 or 3 games, that you can at least play 500. You can win some of those. You can win a lot of them, hopefully more than you lose, on those random nights off. Now, I think where the bench depth is going to be potentially stress tested is if PJ misses any time or if Klay misses any time. Because
you're concerned about that power forward depth behind PJ Washington.
Yeah, PJ is 6'7", 6'8", Klay is 6'6", 6'7". Obviously, Luke is that size too, but there's really not many other guys on the roster that fit that profile. Najee Marshall can replace PJ kind of, but not all the way. Maxey can kind of replace PJ, but not all the way. And really nobody can replace Klay. It's not like you can trot out Tim Hardaway, not Cato. You definitely don't want to trot out Tim Cato. But
definitely
you'd be surprised.
You don't really have, unless you're a true ultra Quentin Grimes believer and you think that he can, take 8 or 9 threes a game or whatever. If anything happens to Klay or to PJ, can you do it in motion? Can you be it's not the same. Obviously, it's not the same.
I think he's a better shooter than Klay.
Okay,
all right, Tim. You're just hot taking it today for no good reason.
So I just don't know. I don't know. I don't think that if guys are going to miss a month, then it's going to be tough.
Yeah.
But if guys are going to miss a couple games, that's fine.
So
I think they're equipped to handle that.
So we agree. Kyrie Irving, clutch player of the year.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's get the last couple in before we move on to our final segment today. Mavericks defensive player of the year. He will be the DPOY for the Mavericks this upcoming year.
Derek Lively.
Also, you've got Derek Lively for 2 awards, Most Improved Player and Defensive Player of the Year for the Mavericks.
Maybe I should have listed him for Mavs Clutch Player of the Year too.
Yeah. Maybe you should just give him all the awards since you're feeling that good today.
No, because I don't think he's more valuable than Luka.
A lively
but
loyalist.
It's a good idea. It's a good idea. But I just, I think that it would just be.
I love Tim's bit today. This is great. I love.
I really wanted to give Lively 6th Man of the Year, but it's just like if you're a starting player, it doesn't make a lot of sense to give him that award.
Yeah.
But I'll keep thinking about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with my favorite Maverick apparently on this show, and according to these fine gentlemen, I'm gonna go with PJ Washington. We talked about it a little bit yesterday about the amount that he's going to be asked to do on the offensive end, but more importantly, what he's going to be doing on the defensive end and kind of that Swiss Army knife type of player that he's going to be for this team. He's going to be guarding most opponents' best player every single night. So PJ Washington and the defensive assignments that he's going to be taking on, I think will have a chance to not only improve him as a defensive player, but really take on that responsibility to put himself in that position to win a type of award like this, where they're going to be counting on him to do a lot defensively.
Yeah, I think like Lively's going to average a gazillion blocks, and Gafford will too. But if PJ and then off the bench, if Najee Marshall and potentially either Grimes or Exum or whoever, if they don't pull their weight, hold down their end of the bargain, then your centers are going to be in foul trouble early in games, and it's going to get pretty uncomfortable. A really, really good rim protector can plug like 1 or 2 leaks in the dam. Can't plug 4, and so you need somebody else that you can count on. You need someone that can stay between their man and the basket, and PJ is going to be the guy, and to an extent Najee will be the other guy that are going to be tasked with, hey, that's their best player, make it tough, and if they can't live up to that, then it doesn't really matter who you have back there. You could have Wemby and Gobert back there, and you're still going to struggle. So I don't know if it will be Lively or Gafford, or if it will be PJ or Najee, but without PJ or Najee, it doesn't matter who you have. So I guess it needs to be one of them.
Some folks also throwing in Derek Lively as well as far as Defensive Player of the Year. We also have a vote for Luka for his Defensive Player of the Year for the Mavericks.
I mean, respect.
What if Luka did turn it up on the defensive end to like even put himself into that category? Because he was a top 10 steals guy last year. Luka was for most of the year, if not all in the entire year.
Yeah,
last year. Bobby's like, I'm not convinced that Luka will ever be anything more than just a top 10 steals guy.
The team is they pay him for offense. They don't pay him for defense.
I agree.
He was a top 10 of the other team stealing buckets because he wasn't paying attention to his man.
He wasn't getting back on defense. That's right, Ben. Lock down Luka this upcoming year.
Now, I mean,
those 2 top 10s kind of cancel each other out.
But
the buckets that he was giving away and the buckets in the steals he was getting got it.
There's some pretty good tape of Luka defending in the playoffs and down the stretch of the regular season.
He went to town in that Clippers series. Yeah, he got after in that Clippers series.
And it's going to be tough for him to play with that level of intensity all year. You don't have to go all in on defense all year, but just go like partly in or much of the way
1 foot in maybe.
Yeah, that's it. Just if he can do that, just be a good. It's like this is the Dirk thing, right? As Dirk's career unfolded, he became a really quality team defender. Now, granted, it's a lot easier to become a quality team defender when you got Sean Marion on one side and Tyson Chandler behind you. Well, I mean, Luka kind of has that. He's got Lively and Gafford behind him, and he's got Najee and PJ defending on the wings. Like, you've got some good players around you, so just fit in. If you can fit in, then you're good. Don't be a target.
Don't fit out.
Yes.
Fit in.
Don't fit out.
Yeah.
LeBron.
Yeah, my friend said that once, and it's always kind of stuck with me.
Yep, LeBron James said that.
Oh, there goes Bobby. Spamming LeBron James in the chat. Stop it. Stop it, Tanner. Do not say LeBron's name anymore. He already did it.
LeBron.
Coming up next here on DLLS Mavs, what's the number 1 storyline, LeBron, after the Dallas Mavericks this upcoming year, as we're less than a week away? You see what I did there, Tanner? I see why you're laughing. Coming up here in just a moment, we'll get into our number 1 storylines for the NBA this upcoming year. But before we get there, Bobby, talk to me about becoming a diehard member here at DLLS Sports.
Well, I kind of already did, but hey,
say it again.
If you just joined, it's all DLLS.com/diehard. Less than $7 a month will change your life. You get a free shirt eventually. You get to read our site. You get discounts on merch, discounts on events, and all sorts of cool stuff. You can join the Discord. I don't know. I don't really want to talk their ear off about it anymore.
I need more enthusiasm about becoming a diehard member.
It's a great thing that
there
you should.
There it is. Yeah.
You should do it.
There
Just
you
go do it. What are
Just
you
go
waiting
do
for?
it. What are you doing?
What are you waiting for? Just go do it right now. You get a shirt. It's going to be awesome. I'm
20%
trying
off
to bring
events.
the juice. Just go do it.
Bobby's got all the juice, just like
We're going to be
Max.
covering every Mavericks game.
every Mavericks game.
We're going to be doing it on the show, but we're also going to be writing a little bit about it. Some takeaways, some
Pre- and
thoughts,
post-game
some
shows.
observations. Me and Bobby are still fleshing out exactly how we're going to split that up, but both of us are going to be, you know, there's going to be something to read after every single.
Yeah, I told
every
Tim
single
I'm
game.
down for like a 82-0 or like 81-1 split with Tim doing the most of it, and he's like, I don't know about that.
You
So
were trying to do
we're
more
deep
of
in
them.
negotiations.
You were trying to do more of them
No,
than me,
Tim
and
is
I
like,
came
I'm
back.
demanding
and was
like 77-5 at least. You know,
wait, which order is this? Which,
you're 77, I'm 5.
I'm 77.
You like Luka, don't you?
I'm non-biased. I have no opinions about
Or
anybody.
only slightly.
I don't know if I
maybe.
want to read your article.
Who knows?
I kid. I do like Luka. I like a lot of people.
DLLS.com
I like
slash
most people.
I
diehard.
kid.
Don't pay attention to anything they're saying.
Nice
DLLS.com slash diehard. Become a diehard member today. You get a physical diehard card as well when you become a member. 20% off all events. Also incredible merchandise. Member only Discord where you can see these two talking about smoked meats and podcasts and
I don't
books.
talk. I just observe. I just read.
You just read.
I take note.
Okay. All right. Well, you can do all of that by becoming a diehard member here at DLLS Sports. What is the number one storyline for your Dallas Mavericks, outside of the Dallas Mavericks, for the NBA this upcoming year? All kinds of fascinating storylines as we are now beginning media days in training camp. Boston opening up their training camp today as they get ready to defend their NBA championship. Mavericks will have media day next week. They'll be in Las Vegas next week as well, beginning on October 1st for training camp. But gentlemen, what is for you, as you look at the entire landscape of the NBA, the number one storyline for you, or some storylines that have you most interested for this NBA season outside of the Dallas Mavericks?
What do you got for us?
I don't like how I have to give the first word on everything now because it's like I just have to have this freshly baked take.
That's not remotely true.
I mean, I think like personally, the thing that I'm going to be paying a lot of attention to this season is how the teams that are a little older handle the whole deal. You know, we talk about the West like it is just like it is a ravenous bloodbath out here. You got Phoenix that was pretty humiliated last year with the way the regular season went and then getting just destroyed in the playoffs by the Wolves. Are they going to come back? Are they going to be healthy? First off, are they going to like have enough players to field a competitive team? And are they going to be in the top 6? Can they handle 82 more games? Denver getting a little old, and then you got your young guys that may or may not be ready. And I guess Denver's not old; they just have injury issues. But at any rate, you lose KCP. How are they going to handle this? You go out east, Milwaukee. Dude, it feels like everybody in Milwaukee's starting lineup is like 35 or 40 years old.
I
Like,
knew it was getting to the Milwaukee. At some
how are
point.
they
I knew
going to
it was
handle it?
coming.
Like Philly, like you formed this exciting big three, but like Embiid's been banged up forever. Paul George getting older. Like there's a lot of age. Miami barely even made. Did they even make the playoffs last year, or did they get bounced in the play? Like Miami just struggled through the entire season. Jimmy Butler's getting older. Like how are these older guys, the Lakers, how are the Clippers? How are they going to handle all this stuff? You know, or is the NBA still going to be a young man's game? You know, and that kind of applies to the Mavs a little bit. Kyrie, 31-32, Klay, 33-34, however old he is. Like the Mavs are not immune from any of this stuff. You know, so I'm really curious to see how that goes because it felt like last year was a bit of a turning of the page. You know, and,
new guard coming in,
yeah, and Father Time is undefeated. So let's see if it holds up or if the old guard has something else to say.
Shout out to Andrew, who just became a diehard member.
Let's go, Andrew.
Shout out to Andrew. Appreciate you, man.
Favorite Andrew in my life.
Andrew Collins. Shout out to him.
My brother's named Andrew, so probably. Yeah.
Jeez, wow. Okay.
But you just passed him on
Alright,
the power rankings for one day only.
for becoming a diehard member.
Yeah.
Okay.
Two stick out for me. Number one, how is this thing in Philly going to work with Paul George now joining Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid, who just got himself a nice contract extension as well through, I think, the 28-29 season, and how those expectations are going to be working for Nick Nurse and that basketball team, because Paul George now leaving Los Angeles with the Clippers to go out east to go team up with Embiid and Maxey. I think it's going to be really interesting to see. But also the biggest one for me, and it concerns the Mavericks, Anthony Edwards and the jump that he potentially is going to make. You thought I was going to say John Morant. I'm not going with John Morant on this particular one.
No, you're not going to be paying attention to the storyline. Like, you're part of it. You're right there with them. Like, you're part of that storyline.
The John Morant one, yeah, for sure. But Anthony Edwards and the leap that he's going to take. We saw last year how he was able to help the Timberwolves destroy the Phoenix Suns. And really, you talk about, that old guard versus new guard. It feels like in a lot of ways, along with Luka and a couple others, that Anthony Edwards is turning into the face of what that new guard is looking like.
Yeah.
And whether or not the Minnesota Timberwolves, as good as they were defensively last year, can they figure it out with Gobert, with Karl Anthony Towns, and Anthony Edwards being the face of that team? Because at some point, they've got a decision to make with all three of those guys, between Gobert, Karl Anthony Towns, and Anthony Edwards. Edwards is going to be there, but a decision is going to have to be made with Towns and Gobert about how they move forward, because financially, they can't make that work for years and years to come because of what the commitments they already have.
And you got an ownership struggle going on, so
Yes.
who knows the future finances? You might need to clean those up or whatever. Like, there's a lot going on. And, Towns is what, 29, 30?
Is he about
Gobert's
to be?
32, 33. Like,
Let's see.
these, I know Ant is young, but really the rest of that team is not very young. I mean, they did get Dillingham, I guess, in the draft, but like, it's a lot of older players.
Yeah.
And it's
Cat's
kind of like
28. He'll be 29
Okay.
This year. Yeah.
29. Okay.
Mhm.
And it's
not too
kind of
bad.
like the OKC got way better and the Mavs went to the finals, but Minnesota though, Minnesota's got next, and so they're facing a lot of expectations, pressure themselves.
Some from the chat, Mun mentioned, I believe it was Ben that mentioned Jalen Brunson, and can the Knicks make the conference finals this upcoming year? Jalen Brunson, of course, second team All-NBA this past year. They lose Isaiah Hartenstein to the aforementioned Oklahoma City Thunder, but they got the entire Villanova Knicks squad together with the addition
Banged
of
up front line though.
Mikal Bridges. That's
I think-
another one for me that's going to be really interesting.
I think the Knicks aren't going to be. They're going to be very disappointing this year.
Really?
Ooh,
I think they're gonna
okay.
be pretty good.
I mean,
I guess losing Hartenstein really hurts. Or Hartenstein.
They lost
Hartenstein or Hartenstein? Hartenstein? Stein?
I've heard Hartenstein and Hartenstein.
Yeah.
Stein, maybe.
Isaiah H, come on the show and let us know.
Let us
DLLS
know.
Sports.
Mark. Where's Mark at? He can help us out.
He'll be
Cuban?
with us. Stein.
Oh, Stein. Okay.
Yeah.
Jeez, your own
Oh.
teammate don't even know who your own teammate is. Good
Unbelievable.
gracious.
Sorry.
Yeah, I think New York's going to disappoint a little bit. Just not having a center solution for the first couple months. I think Hartenstein is a bigger absence.
Oh yeah, because Mr. Robinson's not going to be ready for the start of the
Randall's
season for them.
out still, I think. He's not.
Don Ois in the chat very much believes that OKC is not going to be as good as people think.
There were some very spirited comments against OKC on one of our videos too recently.
I don't
did
a lot
see
of
that.
I
yes.
don't know if I agree, but I am very curious to see how this team comes together. And I do think it's a young enough team that, the whole progress isn't linear thing. It is possible. They're also really healthy last year. That's one thing that everybody. I think I was listening to the Hoop Collective driving for my haircut to the studio today, and they mentioned how Boston was. Thank you, Tanner. They mentioned how Boston was super healthy this season, and so that's maybe a reason why they would slip a little bit. OKC was first in games lost.
Yeah, I think their starting
And-
lineup combined to miss fewer games than Kyrie last season.
Right.
Which, just think about that.
They got 82 more from Kaysen off the bench. Very healthy team. That's something to watch.
Mhm.
How do they deal with a few injuries?
And Hartenstein and Caruso they've missed time throughout their careers.
That
for
said,
various
I
reasons, too.
I think OKC is going to be the best team in the West.
It's a really good
record-wise,
combination there of
just with wins.
teams that's very deep and very skilled, but also that will just beat your ass and just play really hard. It's kind of like Memphis whenever they're really good. Yeah. I mean, it's
Yeah.
like whenever you have skill and the motor and the defense, and it's like, oh my god.
And they got a legitimate MVP candidate in SGA who's going to be fun to watch this year as well. I want to go back to the Knicks thing real quick because, you mentioned how they may be disappointed this year. A lot of duplication, it feels like, with the Knicks. You've got Mikal Bridges. You've got OG Anunoby there. You've got, Jalen Brunson. But how all this comes together, because, we've never seen a team like this with all of these guys who used to play in college together all at the same time on the same team. But I just wonder how much they're going to have going into a year where, Milwaukee, we theoretically think will be better. Obviously, with, Boston as the defending champs, the Philadelphia 76ers. I wonder with the Knicks, as hard as they're going to play every night, how healthy are they going to be by the time we get to the end of the year and what that looks like? Because I think defensively, they're going to be pretty good all year, but I just wonder how much of their legs they're going to actually have left by the time we get to the playoffs, because they play a very hard style when it comes to Tibbs and his style of play.
I've got one to add on. I think a huge thing for me is how the officiating looks with the defense. Is the same physicality going to be around? A lot is pointing to the fact that the physicality is going to stay where it was following the All-Star break, which is obviously not where it was preceding the All-Star break of last season.
Neat.
I think that that's really important for Dallas, how that changes or doesn't change, I guess, is what Dallas is hoping for. Luka Doncic is a much better defender when he can play with that level of physicality.
He's talked about that. Yeah.
And that
sure.
it doesn't affect his scoring. So
Yes.
like he's like one of the only superstars that didn't just like fall off a cliff basically after that.
Correct. So I think that's really important for him. I think it's really important for the team. I think it's important for the big men. You know, I think that's a big part of this that we saw Lively start to earn, you know, respect from the whistle, and it helped that the whistle was allowing him to get away with a little bit more than he was in the past. That's pretty important to me. I'm also curious how the salary cap continues to affect teams, and you know, just how much there may be a unexpected team or an unexpected player moved in unexpected ways. That one's a little bit more nebulous, but how that, you know, just the continued ramifications of the new CBA, the much harsher second apron, first apron, all their salary cap implications. That those are things that I am very curious to watch throughout the year. We also, I feel like every year we're like, oh my God, the West is so hard. It's so hard. It's so hard in the Western Conference. It's such a how can anybody win any games?
Is he about to be a doubter?
No, I wouldn't say a doubter, but as always, 2 or 3 teams that we have high expectations for will miss them pretty badly.
Yeah, I mean, injuries happen, and you know,
I mean, there's probably going to be a Memphis Grizzlies of this season. You know, there's probably going to
like
be
in a good way or bad way.
And
see, because I got him going up the uptick for Memphis.
No. I'm saying this season there's probably going to be a team that's much like Memphis last season.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah,
banged up and
it always happens.
I think Phoenix might
it almost inevitably happens every single year. Yes, the Western Conference is tough.
Well, of course, there's not going to be 12 50-win teams, but I mean, I think my concern would be that even if your team doesn't deal with injuries or whatever, like that, your average game is going to be like 10% tougher than it should be.
But we said that last year too.
We said that
a lot of years in a row.
It ended up being very true for the Mavs. They had to be the best team in basketball for 2 months just to not be in the play.
To get a 5 seed.
Yeah. Like last year, oh my God, ESPN's not working. Oh my God, this is so embarrassing.
I mean,
this is so embarrassing.
It's an inferior media company.
So last season there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 teams in the West with between 51 and 46 wins.
Jeez.
7 teams, but that were separated by 5 games. I mean, and Houston only got eliminated from the playoffs in like game 79 or 80 or something like that.
Came out in the last week of the season. For
them.
them.
And like that, I mean, they would have been in there too potentially, but they kind of packed it up near the end. But like that's what I'm saying is that even if you know you might not have 12 teams trying to join the party, but 11 is still a lot.
Yeah.
You know, and if there's 4 or 5 games separating 7 or 8 teams, then you cannot F up.
What does that word stand for?
Yeah, you cannot fool around.
There you go. Good job. Last one I'll say real quick. Yeah, that's a good one.
Forest.
What? No. Anyway.
You can't forest around. You can't.
You gonna keep making them one?
Foliage.
Tanner, you have your clip for today. You're welcome.
Foliage? That was the clip?
Bring us home, Kevin.
I'm trying to.
It's a good word.
Golden State is the last one for me. Is this the end? Klay's gone now. Steph is in the twilight. Draymond Green. Is this the end of Golden State? We've been wondering if this is going to be the end for them for a long time. This might actually be the end.
I'm sounding the alarms, dude. I'm not.
Oh, you're done with Golden State?
There's a lot of teams that are better than them.
It's going to be a rough year.
It's going to be spooky, I think.
Tim has removed himself from the conversation. He's done for today. You see how he pushes himself?
I'm still here. I was getting yelled at because I was just trying to guess.
You're just saying
You're
words.
wearing words.
Well, you
words
said
that start
you
with the
said
letter
the
F.
letter F, and I didn't know what it stood for.
How about this one?
And you still haven't told
Finished.
me.
We're finished here on DLLS Mavs for today.
Yes.
Come back with us tomorrow at 12 p.m. here on DLLS Sports.
Finally.
We will try again to do better for you, the Dallas Maverick fan, because we cover your Dallas Mavericks every single day. Mercifully for Bobby, Tim, I'm Kevin. Tanner, too. We're DLLS Mavs. We'll talk to y'all tomorrow.
Farewell.
Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.